Dr. Ju Kim rubbed his tired eyes. He had been staring at the same strange signal patterns for hours. The quiet hum of the International Lunar Observatory's computers was the only sound in the room. "This can't be right," he muttered. The signal came from somewhere near Saturn. It repeated in a way that nature never could. This was not random. This was a message. Ju pressed the emergency call button. Within minutes, the observatory's director and senior staff crowded around his screen. "Are you certain?" asked Director Park, her face pale in the blue light of the monitor. "Yes," said Ju. "These patterns have mathematical precision. Someone sent this." 3 days later, every telescope on Earth and in orbit pointed toward Saturn. World leaders met in emergency sessions. The military went on high alert. Then the Frairen ship appeared. It emerged from what scientists later called a fold in space. There one moment, not there the second before. The ship was massive, shaped like a silver leaf, and it headed straight for Earth. Global panic followed. Some people fled to the countryside. Others prayed. Military forces worldwide prepared for the worst. But the Frairen sent a message of peace. They requested a landing site and a meeting with Earth's leaders. After much debate, an agreement was reached. The Frairen would land in a remote part of New Zealand, far from major cities. HFY Rimiki checked her appearance one last time before joining the welcome team. At 32 years old, she was the youngest linguist on the International Contact Committee. Her specialty was pattern recognition in unknown language systems. "Are you nervous?" asked her colleague, Dr. Thomas. "Terrified," HFY admitted, "but excited too." They stood with 20 other specialists at the edge of a massive field. Military forces formed a wide circle around the area. News cameras captured everything from a safe distance. The air shimmered. A small craft, different from the main ship still in orbit, descended silently. It landed without disturbing a single blade of grass. For one long minute, nothing happened. Then a door opened in the side of the craft. A ramp extended, and the Frairen appeared. They walked on 2 legs and had 2 arms, but that's where their similarity to humans ended. They stood over 7 feet tall, with slim bodies covered in something like silver-blue scales. Their heads were hairless and elongated, with large, multicolored eyes that seemed to change hue as they blinked. 3 Frairen walked down the ramp. The one in front wore an elaborate collar of metal that glowed softly. A voice came from nowhere and everywhere at once. "We greet the people of Earth. I am Commander Terrell of the Frairen diplomatic fleet." The words appeared in everyone's mind, not in their ears. Several people gasped. HFY stepped forward with the team leader, Dr. Singh. "Welcome to Earth," Dr. Singh said. "We are honored by your visit." Commander Terrell's eyes shifted from deep blue to purple. "The honor is ours. We have observed your world for some time. Your species shows great promise." HFY felt a gentle touch in her mind, like fingers flipping through pages of a book. She realized the Frairen were scanning their thoughts, learning their language in real time. "You understand patterns well," Commander Terrell said, looking directly at HFY. "Your mind is interesting." HFY bowed slightly. "Thank you. I hope to learn from you as well." "You are called Rimiki, an unusual name for your region." "My father was Japanese, my mother Korean," HFY explained. "I honor both in my professional name." Commander Terrell made a gesture with long, 6-fingered hands. "Family bonds. We understand these. They are important to the Frairen as well." Over the next hours, formal introductions were made. The Frairen spoke of peace, cultural exchange, and shared knowledge. They mentioned nothing of their technology or why they had come to Earth specifically. As the meeting ended, Commander Terrell approached HFY again. "Miss Rimiki," the alien said, "I believe we will work well together. There is much we can teach each other." HFY smiled and nodded, but something in the commander's shifting eyes made her shiver. Behind them, in the fading light, Dr. Ju Kim watched the exchange with narrowed eyes. Something about these aliens didn't add up. The signal he'd found had been too perfect, too easy to detect, almost as if they had wanted to be found. 3 years passed since the Frairen first landed on Earth. The world had changed. Frairen technology helped clean polluted oceans and improve crop yields. Their medical knowledge saved millions of lives. Most people welcomed the aliens as friends. HFY Rimiki stood before the selection committee, her heart racing. After years of working as a liaison with the Frairen, she had applied for the first human exchange program to visit the alien homeworld. Miss Rimiki, your work with the Frairen language development has been excellent, said the committee head. Your application is approved. You will join the team leaving next month. Later that evening, HFY celebrated with a small dinner. Dr. Ju Kim was among her guests. Congratulations, Ju said, but his smile didn't reach his eyes. You're making history. You don't seem happy for me, HFY noted. Ju lowered his voice. Have you noticed how the Frairen share technology for food production and medicine, but nothing about their space travel, or energy production, or their weapons? They're being careful. Wouldn't we do the same? Maybe. Ju sipped his drink. Just keep your eyes open on their world, HFY. Something doesn't add up. 4 weeks later, HFY and 7 other humans boarded a Frairen shuttle. Commander Terrell personally welcomed them. The journey will take 12 days, the alien explained. You will sleep for most of it. The humans were placed in special pods. When HFY next opened her eyes, they had arrived. The view took her breath away. The Frairen homeworld was wrapped in rings like Saturn, but these shimmered with colors. Massive cities floated in the sky. Ships of all sizes moved between them. Welcome to Terrace, said Commander Terrell. Their first days were filled with guided tours and meetings. HFY noticed the Frairen. They met all wore different colored markings on their scale-like skin. What do the colors mean? She asked her guide, a Frairen named Dowan, who wore simple blue markings. They show our place in society, Dowan explained. Gold is for the Taiju, our highest caste. They make all important decisions. And blue. Science and knowledge workers. Dowan seemed uncomfortable. There are 5 castes in total. As days passed, HFY noticed other things. The lower caste Frairen always bowed to the gold-marked Taiju. Sometimes, when a Taiju passed, the lower castes seemed to freeze momentarily, as if controlled. One evening, working late in the language center, HFY found Dowan looking troubled. Is something wrong? She asked. Dowan glanced around nervously. I should not speak of this. You can trust me. After a long pause, Dowan whispered, the Taiju do not show you everything. They hide the truth about our society. What truth? The Taiju can control minds. Not completely, but enough to ensure obedience. Dowan suddenly stiffened as a door opened. A gold-marked Frairen entered. High Commander Sanho, leader of the Taiju Council. Miss Rimiki, working late I see. Sanho's eyes shifted colors rapidly. And Dowan, assisting our guest. Yes, High Commander, Dowan said, voice flat. Miss Rimiki, tomorrow you will join me for a special tour. There are things about our world I wish to show you personally. After Sanho left, Dowan remained silent for several minutes, then spoke as if nothing had happened. Back on Earth, Dr. Ju Kim entered a secure room deep under a government building. Captain Minji Han, head of a new military intelligence division, waited for him. Dr. Kim, thank you for coming, she said. We've been analyzing the technology the Frairen gave us. And it's strange. The medical devices they provided. They emit unusual radiation. Very low levels, harmless according to all tests. But what? Captain Han pointed to brain scans on a screen. These are from people who work closely with Frairen technology. See these changes in the frontal lobe. Small, but consistent. Ju felt a chill. What kind of changes? We're not sure. But they match patterns we've seen in people who've spent the most time with the Frairen themselves. Ju thought of HFY, now millions of miles away on the aliens' homeworld. "Captain," he said grimly, "I think we need to look deeper into everything the Frairen have given us." As he spoke, across the solar system, HFY prepared to meet High Commander Sano, unaware she was about to learn the Frairen's true purpose on Earth. High Commander Sano led HFY through a grand hall. The ceiling arched so high it disappeared in shadows. Other gold-marked Taju bowed as they passed. "Our council meets here," Sano explained. "For 10,000 years, the Taju have guided our people." 10,000 years. HFY couldn't hide her surprise. "Your civilization is that old?" "Much older," Sano said. "We have visited many worlds, met many species." They entered a smaller room with a glowing table in the center. Sano waved his hand, and the table projected images of different aliens. "These are our friends," Sano said. "All part of our family now." HFY studied the images. The aliens looked very different from each other, but each wore markings similar to Frairen-cased colors. "They joined you." "In a way." Sano's eyes shifted to a deep red. "They became part of the Frairen society. As Earth will, in time." A chill ran down HFY's spine. "What do you mean?" "Nothing to fear," Sano said quickly. "I meant only that our cultures will grow closer." That night, HFY couldn't sleep. Sano's words bothered her. When someone knocked softly on her door, she jumped. Dowan stood outside, looking nervous. "Miss Rimiki, please come with me." Quickly and quietly. "Where are we going?" "Somewhere we can talk safely." Dowan led her through dark hallways and down many flights of stairs. They entered a small room filled with old equipment. "The Taju don't come here," Dowan explained. "This technology is too old to interest them." "Why did you bring me here?" "Because you need to know the truth. The Frairen are not what they seem." Dowan activated an ancient-looking device. Images appeared, showing Frairen ships arriving at different planets. Each time, the same pattern played out. Friendly first contact, technology exchange, then gradual takeover. "This is the integration protocol," Dowan said. "First, we share helpful technology. Second, we place influence nodes that slowly change brain patterns. Third, the Taju establish direct control. By the time a species realizes what's happening, it's too late." HFY watched in horror as the images showed entire alien civilizations becoming part of the Frairen Empire, reduced to lower castes. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because humans are different." Dowan's eyes glowed brightly. "Some of your people resist the influence. The Taju are concerned. They debate whether to abandon the slow approach and move to direct conquest." "We need to warn Earth," HFY said. "It may already be too late. The influence nodes are likely in place." Back on Earth, Dr. Ju Kim and Captain Minji Han stood in a laboratory, examining a disassembled Frairen medical device. "It's definitely not just a medical scanner," Ju said. "These components have nothing to do with medical imaging." Captain Han nodded. "We found similar technology in their agricultural machines and water purifiers. All of them emit the same low-level radiation pattern." "How many of these devices are on Earth now?" "Thousands, in every major city." Juwoo's face paled. "And they all connect to the main Frairen communication network. A network that reaches every government, every major company." Captain Han added, "Dr. Kim, we believe these devices are affecting human brain chemistry. Not enough to control minds completely, but enough to make people more agreeable to Frairen suggestions. We need to shut them down." "It's not that simple. The world depends on their technology now, and any move against the Frairen would be seen as an act of war." Juwoo thought for a moment. "Then we need to develop a countermeasure, something to block or reverse the effects." "Can you do that?" "Maybe, but I need more information about how their technology works. We need someone on the inside." On the Frairen homeworld, HFY and Dowan left the hidden room. As they turned a corner, they came face to face with 3 Taju guards. Down of Science Cast, one guard said. You are forbidden to access old archives. And you, he turned to Haywan, are restricted to approved areas only. Dowan stepped in front of Haywan. She is under my guidance. I take responsibility. The guard's eyes flashed gold. Dowan suddenly dropped to his knees, clutching his head in pain. Stop, Haywan shouted. The guards turned to her. One reached for her arm. In that moment, something unexpected happened. The guard touched Haywan's mind with his powers, then jerked back as if burned. What are you? He hissed. Haywan didn't understand what had happened, but she saw her chance. She grabbed Dowan's arm and ran. Behind them, the guard called into a communication device. Alert High Commander Sando. The human female resists influence. The integration protocol must be accelerated. Haywan and Dowan ran through dark corridors. Alarms blared around them. This way, Dowan pulled her into a narrow passage. We must reach the lower levels. They descended deeper into the city. The grand architecture of the upper levels gave way to simpler structures. Here, Frairen with green and brown markings moved quickly, heads bowed. The worker castes live here, Dowan explained. The Taiju rarely come down. They entered a small transport pod that shot downward so fast Haywan's ears popped. When the door opened, they were in a dimly lit tunnel. Where are we going? Haywan asked. To meet someone who can help us. After walking for what felt like hours, they reached a hidden door. Dowan pressed his hand to it and whispered words Haywan couldn't understand. The door slid open. Inside was a large cave filled with technology that looked cobbled together from different sources. About 20 beings moved around the space. Most were Frairen with various caste markings, but some weren't Frairen at all. A tall figure approached them. She looked like a Frairen but had patches of fur on her blue-scaled skin and much larger eyes. I am Yuna, she said. Her voice had an unusual musical quality. Welcome, Miss Rimiki of Earth. You know who I am. We have been watching you since you arrived. Yuna gestured around the room. This is the resistance. We oppose the Taiju and their endless conquests. Yuna explained that she was half Frairen and half Lido, a species conquered centuries ago. The resistance included members from a dozen conquered worlds and Frairen from lower castes. The Taiju's power is not absolute, Yuna said. Their mind control works best on species they studied for generations. Humans are new and different. How am I different? Haywan asked. The guard tried to control me, but couldn't. Your brains have unique patterns. Some humans seem naturally resistant. Yuna leaned closer. We need samples of your DNA and brain scans to understand why. It may help free others. Back on Earth, Captain Minji Han gathered a small team in a secure bunker. Military officers from 7 countries sat around a table. Dr. Ju Kim stood at the front of the room. The Frairen technology is changing us, he explained. Slowly but surely. We're becoming easier to influence. Do we have proof? Asked a Russian general. Captain Han displayed brain scans on a large screen. These changes appear in everyone who works closely with Frairen tech, but the effect varies. Some people show almost no changes. We need to understand why some resist, Ju said, and we need a way to block or reverse the effects. What about the Frairen directly? Asked an American admiral. Could we strike first? Their technology is far beyond ours, Captain Han replied. A direct attack would be suicide. Then we work in secret, Ju said. We form a resistance. The room fell silent as everyone considered the implications. If we're caught, the Russian general said finally, it could trigger the very war we're trying to prevent. If we do nothing, Ju answered, we won't even know we've lost until it's too late. In the end, they agreed. Operation Firewall would begin, a global effort to develop countermeasures against Frairen influence while gathering more information about their true capabilities. On the Frairen homeworld, Haywan underwent tests in the Resistance's hidden lab. Dowan collected samples of her blood and hair, then scanned her brain. "Remarkable," he said, studying the results. "Your neural pathways form unusual patterns. The Taju's influence slides off them like water on oil. Can you use this to help others?" Haywan asked. "Perhaps, but we need to get this information to Earth." Yuna joined them. "The Taiju are accelerating their plans. They'll soon activate all influence nodes on your planet. How do we warn Earth?" "The Frairen control all communications." "Not all," Yuna smiled. "We have a ship, small, but capable of reaching your solar system. We can load it with all our data about Taiju technology and control methods." "I'll go," Haywan said immediately. "It's dangerous," Dowan warned. "If caught, the Taiju won't just kill you. They'll extract everything you know about Earth's defenses." Haywan stood straight. "I have to try. Earth has no idea what's coming." Yuna nodded. "We'll prepare the ship. You leave tomorrow." As Haywan tried to sleep that night, she thought of home, of Dr. Kim's warnings that she had dismissed, of the billions of people who had no idea they were about to lose their freedom, their very selves, to alien masters. "I'm coming," she whispered to the distant Earth. "Hold on." Before dawn, Haywan and Dowan prepared to leave for the hidden ship. Yuna gave them small devices to store the data about Frairen technology and control methods. "The ship is old but fast," Yuna explained. "It can reach Earth in 10 days. As they gathered supplies, a young Frairen with purple markings rushed in. "Taiju guards are coming," he shouted. "Someone told them about this place." Yuna's face hardened. "We have a traitor." The room erupted in panic. Some resistance members grabbed weapons, while others rushed to destroy evidence. "You must go now," Yuna told Haywan and Dowan. "Take the emergency tunnel. We'll hold them off." Dowan led Haywan through a narrow passage that seemed to stretch for miles. Behind them, they heard shouts and the high-pitched whine of Frairen weapons. "Someone betrayed us," Dowan said, his voice tight with anger. "But who?" They reached a small hangar where an old ship waited. As Dowan started the engines, the door behind them burst open. A Frairen with red caste markings entered. "Temin." Dowan looked shocked. "You're with us." Temin held a weapon pointed at them. "The Taiju promised to raise my family to a higher caste if I helped them. I'm sorry." "You doomed your own people to slavery," Haywan said. "No, the integration is necessary. The Taiju know best." Temin's eyes had a glazed look. "Step away from the ship." Dowan moved slightly, drawing Temin's attention. Haywan seized the moment to grab a tool from a nearby table and throw it at Temin. The weapon fired, hitting Haywan's arm, but it gave Dowan enough time to tackle Temin. "Get in the ship," Dowan shouted as he struggled with the traitor. Haywan clutched her injured arm and stumbled into the ship. Dowan followed seconds later, bleeding from a cut on his face. He sealed the door and rushed to the controls. The small ship shot out of the hangar and into the night sky. Alarms blared as larger Frairen vessels began pursuit. "Hold on," Dowan said. He pressed a sequence of buttons, and the stars around them blurred. On the Frairen homeworld, High Commander Sando stood in the destroyed resistance base. Bodies of resistance members lay scattered around him. Yuna knelt before him, held by 2 guards. "Where is the human?" Sanho demanded. Yuna remained silent. Sanho's eyes flashed gold, and Yuna screamed in pain as he forced his way into her mind. "They escaped, with data about our technology." Sanho turned to his officers. "Send word to all ships near Earth. The integration protocol is now accelerated. Activate all influence nodes immediately." Back on Earth, Dr. Ju Kim made a breakthrough. He had been studying the Frairen devices for days without sleep. "Captain Han," he called excitedly. "Look at this." Captain Minji Han joined him at his workstation. "The radiation pattern changes every 12 hours, Ju explained. "It's not random. It's following a program." "What kind of program?" I think it's designed to gradually increase in strength. The early emissions were barely noticeable, but they've been getting stronger. When will they reach full strength? Juwu checked his calculations. Within days, maybe hours, and at full strength. He hesitated. What happens? Captain Han pressed. At full strength, the devices could potentially override human free will. Not completely, but enough to make people highly suggestible to Frairen commands. Captain Han's face paled. How many of these devices are there? Thousands in every major city, millions worldwide. Can we shut them down? Not without alerting the Frairen, but I might be able to create a blocker that shields the brain from the effects. Do it. I'll inform the task force. As Captain Han left, Juwu turned on a news broadcast. The Frairen ambassador was announcing a new gift to humanity, special communication devices that would bring our worlds closer together. Juwu knew the truth. These weren't gifts. They were chains. In space, HFY's ship raced toward Earth. Her arm throbbed where the weapon had hit her, but Dowan had treated it with Frairen medicine. How much longer? She asked. 8 days at top speed, Dowan replied. I hope we're not too late. The Frairen ships didn't follow us. I used an old smuggler's trick to mask our trail, but they know where we're going. HFY looked at the small device containing the Resistance's data. It held information that could save Earth if they reached it in time. We'll make it, she said with determination. We have to. Dr. Juwu Kim worked without sleep for 3 days straight. His lab was filled with dismantled Frairen devices and computer screens showing complex patterns. Captain Han brought him food, but he barely touched it. Any progress? She asked. Maybe. Juwu pointed to a device he had built. This might block the Frairen signals, but we need to test it. A young soldier burst into the lab. Captain, we're receiving a strange transmission from space. It's not Frairen. At least not their usual pattern. They rushed to the communication center. The operator played the message. This is HFY Rimiki. Earth. Danger. Frairen Plan 2. Coming with data. Need coordinates. The message was broken, filled with static, but it was definitely HFY's voice. She's alive, Juwu whispered, and she knows about the Frairen plans. Can we respond? Captain Han asked the operator. Yes, but the Frairen might detect it. Do it. Give her the coordinates for our hidden base in Alaska. As they sent the message, alarms blared throughout the facility. What's happening? Juwu asked. An officer ran in. The Frairen devices. They've all activated at once, all over the world. On screens around the room, they watched news reports of strange events worldwide. People near Frairen technology were stopping whatever they were doing, their faces blank. Some began walking toward Frairen facilities. It's starting, Juwu said, the full control phase. But not everyone is affected, Captain Han pointed out. Indeed, some people on the screens looked confused or frightened as they watched others around them fall under Frairen influence. Just as HFY's message said, some humans are naturally resistant. Captain Han turned to her team. Deploy Dr. Kim's blocking devices to all our bases and prepare for combat. I don't think the Frairen will keep pretending to be friendly much longer. She was right. Within hours, Frairen ships appeared over major cities worldwide. Their message was broadcast on all channels. People of Earth. High Commander Sando's face filled screens everywhere. Your integration into the Frairen society begins today. Resistance is unnecessary and harmful. Accept our guidance, and you will prosper as part of our family. But humanity wasn't ready to surrender. In cities around the world, those who resisted the Frairen control fought back. Military forces not affected by the influence nodes fired at Frairen ships. Ordinary people destroyed Frairen devices where they found them. The Frairen responded with force. Energy weapons fired from their ships, destroying military bases and government buildings. Thousands died in the first hours of the attack. In Alaska, Captain Han organized the resistance. Dr. Kim's blocking devices were mass-produced and distributed to soldiers and civilians alike. They weren't perfect, but they helped people resist the Frairen control. "We need better weapons," Captain Han told her international team. "The Frairen ships are too powerful for our missiles." "What about their ground forces?" asked a British commander. "They can't control Earth from space alone." "Guerrilla warfare," said a Chinese general. "We hide, we strike, we disappear. We make Earth too costly for them to hold." Captain Han nodded. "And we buy time for HFY to arrive with whatever data she's bringing." In space, HFY and Dowan's ship approached Earth. They could see Frairen battleships in orbit. "We're too late," Dowan said grimly. "The invasion has begun." "No, we're not too late," HFY insisted. "Look." She pointed to communications showing resistance across the planet. "Humans are fighting back, and many aren't affected by the control." "But how will we get past the Frairen ships? They'll shoot us down." HFY studied the data from Earth. "There," she pointed to coordinates in Alaska, Captain Han's base. "If we come in through the atmosphere here, the mountains might hide us from Frairen sensors. It's risky. Our ship isn't made for rough landings. We have to try." HFY looked at Earth, partly hidden by Frairen ships. "My people need this data." Dowan nodded and set course for Alaska. As they began their descent, a Frairen patrol ship spotted them and opened fire. "Hold on," Dowan shouted as he took evasive action. Their small ship rocked violently. Warning lights flashed across the control panel. "We're hit," HFY cried. "Can we make it?" "I don't know." Dowan struggled with the controls as the ship plunged toward Earth, trailing smoke and fire. "But we're going to find out." HFY woke to the smell of smoke. The ship had crashed in a snow-covered forest. Pain shot through her leg when she tried to move. "Dowan?" she called. "Here." His voice came from the front of the ship. He appeared, limping but alive. "We need to leave. Frairen patrols will look for us." HFY grabbed the data device and her emergency pack. Together, they stumbled from the wreckage into deep snow. The cold bit at their faces. "How far to the human base?" Dowan asked, his breath making clouds in the air. 20 miles, maybe more." HFY checked a small map device Captain Han had included in her response message. They had walked for hours when they heard the sound of engines. They hid behind trees as vehicles approached. "Frairen," Dowan whispered. "No," HFY smiled with relief. "Humans." 3 military snowmobiles stopped nearby. Armed soldiers in white winter gear approached cautiously. "Identify yourselves," one called. "HFY Rimiki," she shouted back. "I have a message for Captain Minji Han." The soldiers rushed forward when they heard her name. Within minutes, they were speeding toward the hidden base. At the base, Dr. Ju Kim waited anxiously. When HFY limped in with Dowan, he rushed to hug her. "You made it," he said, eyes shining with tears. Captain Han stepped forward. "Ms. Rimiki, we've been waiting for you, and this is Dowan, a friend and ally. He helped me escape." HFY handed over the data device. "Everything the Resistance learned about Frairen technology and control methods is here. And there's more." In a secure room, HFY and Dowan explained what they had learned about human resistance to Frairen control. "Earth's magnetic field is unique," Dowan explained. "It has shaped human brain development for thousands of years. The patterns it created make some humans naturally resistant to our mind control." Dr. Kim studied the brain scans from the data device. "Can we use this to help those who aren't naturally resistant?" "Yes," HFY said. "The Resistance designed a device that creates a similar pattern artificially. It could free people already under control. But we need more than that to win this war," Captain Han said grimly. "The Frairen ships are too powerful." "There might be help," Dowan said. "The Frairen Empire is vast, but not everyone accepts Taiju rule. Many conquered species would join your fight if given the chance." "How do we reach them?" "With this." Dowan produced a small crystal from his pocket. Coordinates for planets where resistance movements are active, if you can send messages to them. Captain Han turned to her communications officer. Can we do it? Maybe. We've captured a few Frairen communication devices. With Dowan's help, we might be able to adapt them. Over the next days, as fighting continued worldwide, they worked to contact other resistance movements across the galaxy. First to respond were the Jiho, a species with powerful telepathic abilities that even the Taju couldn't fully control. Next were the Sunwu. 1 week later, Captain Han stood before a map of the world. Large areas glowed red, showing Frairen-controlled territories. Smaller blue dots showed resistance strongholds. We're losing ground every day, she told her team. But the plan is working. Dr. Kim's freedom devices had been distributed to resistance cells worldwide. Thousands of people under Frairen control had been freed. Each freed person joined the fight, creating a snowball effect. Haewon entered with urgent news. The Jiho and Sunwu fleets have entered the solar system. They'll reach Earth in 12 hours, and the Frairen know they're coming, Dowan added. They've called in reinforcements. High Commander Sanho himself is arriving to lead the final attack. Captain Han's face was grim. Then we proceed with the capture plan now. We can't wait. Their target was a Frairen battlecruiser in orbit above Alaska. Dowan had identified it as having many lower-caste crew members who might be sympathetic to their cause. The plan was dangerous. Captain Han would lead a small team to infiltrate the ship using a captured Frairen shuttle. Haewon and Dowan would go too, as they could speak the Frairen language. Dr. Kim would stay behind to coordinate the resistance on Earth. Once aboard, Captain Han explained, we'll use the freedom devices to release as many crew as possible from Taju control. Dowan will help us take the bridge. High Commander Sanho's massive command ship emerged from fold space near Earth. It was 3 times larger than any other Frairen vessel, with weapons that could destroy entire cities. They're here, Dowan said, looking at the scanner on their captured battlecruiser. Captain Han, her shoulder bandaged, studied the tactical display. The Jiho and Sunwu fleets are engaging the other Frairen ships. We need to get to Sanho's command ship. On Earth, Dr. Kim had made a final breakthrough. He had connected his freedom device to the global communication network, amplifying its effect. This could free everyone at once, he told his team. But we need to transmit from the Frairen command network to reach all their controlled territories. He sent a message to Haewon. Must access central Frairen network hub on Sanho's ship. New device can free everyone. In orbit, battle raged between the Allied fleets and Frairen forces. The captured battlecruiser, with Haewon, Dowan, and Captain Han aboard, slipped through the chaos toward Sanho's command ship. They're hailing us, Dowan said. Answer, Captain Han ordered. But video only from your station. Hide the rest of us. Dowan opened the channel. High Commander Sanho's face appeared on screen. Report, Battlecruiser Terrace, Sanho demanded. Engine damage from battle, High Commander, Dowan replied. Requesting emergency docking. Sanho's eyes narrowed. Approved. Docking Bay 7. When the channel closed, Captain Han turned to her team. He suspects something. Be ready for heavy resistance. They docked with the massive command ship. As they expected, armed Taju guards were waiting. The moment the doors opened, both sides fired. The battle was fierce, but the freedom devices gave the humans an advantage. Each Frairen they freed from control either fled or joined them. Slowly, they fought their way toward the central control chamber where Sanho waited. Meanwhile, the alien allies were winning the space battle. The Jiho used their telepathic powers to confuse Frairen crews, while Sunwu ships targeted the Frairen vessels' weak points. On Earth, resistance forces pushed forward as more people broke free from control. The tide was turning. Haewon, Dowan, and Captain Han finally reached the doors to the central control chamber. Half their team had fallen in the fighting. This is it, Captain Han said. Dr. Kim's device needs to be connected to the main system inside. The doors opened unexpectedly. High Commander Sanho stood alone in the vast chamber. "I've been waiting for you, Miss Rimiki," he said. "You've caused quite a problem." "It's over, Sanho," Heiwan replied. "Your forces are losing everywhere." "Perhaps this battle," Sanho admitted, "but not the war. The Frairen have conquered for 10,000 years. We will recover." "Why?" Dowan asked. "Why conquer at all? Why not live in peace?" Sanho's eyes changed to a deep, sad blue. "Because we had no choice. We were the first to be conquered, long ago, by a species now extinct. They changed us, made us into conquerors, bound us to this path." "Then break free," Heiwan urged. "Dr. Kim's device can disrupt the control network completely. You can all be free." "And then what?" Sanho asked. "Our empire would collapse. Billions would suffer in the chaos. Or you could build something better," Captain Han said. "An alliance of equals, not masters and slaves." Sanho considered this for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he stepped aside. "Do what you came to do. I will not stop you." Heiwan connected Dr. Kim's device to the central system. Lights flickered throughout the ship as the signal spread through the Frairen network, reaching every corner of their vast empire. Across Earth and beyond, the control broke. Millions of beings, human and alien, felt their minds clear for the first time in generations. In the control chamber, Sanho himself seemed to change. His posture relaxed, and his eyes settled on a clear, bright color they hadn't seen before. "I remember now," he said quietly. "What we were before, what we could be again." 3 months later, Heiwan stood before the newly formed Galactic Council. Representatives from a dozen species, including humans and Frairen, gathered to sign a historic peace treaty. "The last war of the Frairen Empire is over," she announced. "Today, we begin a new chapter, one of cooperation and freedom." Dr. Kim and Captain Han watched proudly from the audience. Dowan, now leading the reformed Frairen government, nodded to Heiwan with respect and friendship. Miss Rimiki, once a simple linguist, had helped change the course of galactic history and humanity. The species that couldn't be controlled had shown the way to freedom for all. The end.